Hey, 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 hey. So this past week, I was in Spain, my first time in Spain. And I had to go through my passports because I'm like, I've been to Spain before. I think I've gone through Spain, but never visited there. And it was an amazing experience. So my purpose there was for vacation as well as speaking at a mental health retreat event. And it a lot of things happened. What was on my mind this morning when I woke up is not every disruption needs to be a disaster. I want you to think about that. Not every disruption needs to be a disaster. So while I was in Spain, I was in Barcelona, then went to Catalonia. In my mind, I still say that wrong for the retreat. And so I was scheduled to speak twice. And the first breakout was good. We were sitting outside under like this pergola. It was beautiful weather. We were surrounded by nature and the big mansion we were at. It was just a beautiful space, beautiful people, good conversation. And so, of course, I spoke about evolving mental capacity so that mental health professionals can start speaking, securing corporate contracts, and six things that they really need to keep in mind. So that was kind of my focus. Um, and so that went really well. But even before I got there, I was in Barcelona and I love solo travel. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love group travel and sisterhood travel as well. But it's something about solo travel that's quite liberating because you are just there by yourself and you're experiencing yourself. And normally I sleep on a plane going to the countries I go to. And when I hit the ground, I want to hit the ground running, y'all. Like if my room ain't ready, I'll drop my luggage off and hit the ground running. I know where I'm gonna go get breakfast, and then it kind of just takes a mind of its own. So going there, it was very unusual. I did not sleep on the plane. Probably slept for maybe 30 minutes. So I don't consider that like for an 8 hour flight. So I didn't sleep much on the plane, and I got to my hotel at 9:30 a.m. and my check-in wasn't until 2. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm still gonna drop my bags down and go. And so I asked, I said, by chance, is my room ready? The person said, absolutely yes. And I was like, really? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go shower. Hey, why not? Gonna go shower and sleep for like 2, 3 hours. I slept for 8 hours. So a whole day in Barcelona is gone. And so I was like, it is what it is. So got dressed, woke up, got dressed, took myself to dinner, and kind of came right back. And so by that time, I had slept for the whole day. So I was like, well, I may as well get caught up on some busy things I wanted to do at that time. So it was 10 o'clock at night over in Spain, but obviously time difference here, minus 7 hours. So I ended up staying up all night. And then the very next day, I went hiking. And I went hiking at the Montserrat Montessori, active Montessori. And I hiked this mountain. It was just insanely beautiful, something out of a fairy tale storybook. So I hiked the mountain and hiked it down, but down we took 700 stairs, 700, little over 700 stairs down. My little legs were just wobbly. I was exhausted. And, I have a injured knee, so I was being very careful with that. And it wasn't a rigorous hike, but it was definitely intense and you could feel the feels. So I love hiking. I love doing, active stuff when I'm on vacation. So 700 stairs down, I'm exhausted. Okay. So it takes about an hour to get there from the pickup spot, not too far from my hotel, and an hour to get back. So I wiped out in the car. That's fine. And then I was like, well, I may as well go up and get dressed. So you can get where the story is going, that my whole sleep pattern was thrown off from that first night. While I should have been resting, I was, just being engaged in distractions that serve no purpose in the end. Um, so my whole schedule was thrown off. So I know me, my immune system can get compromised really easily when I don't get my rest or eat well. And so it just kind of snowballed. So by that time, my schedule was turned upside down. Normally, when I'm overseas in the 8 hour distance frames or time zones, I can reset after one day. So I enjoyed Barcelona. And then I go over to the retreat city, get on the bus, and all of that. And so I speak the first day, and the food, the scenery, the water, everything was beautiful. I get sick. I got sick. And mind you, this is the week before registration is supposed to open for the Sessions to Stages Summit. So I get sick, a few other people get sick, and we're testing for COVID, we're testing for the flu. And thank God both of them are coming back negative. So with negative tests, I still was too sick to get out of bed for 2 whole days. So I missed my second speaking engagement. And I communicated with the host and I did everything I was supposed to do. And they were just so um, understanding and extended grace. So when I started off talking today, I mentioned how not every disruption needs to be a disaster. In that moment, I could have panicked. It was like, oh, I'm not gonna hold in my end to the obligation. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And I was able to offset the difference through some direct or one-on-one supportive services for the guests that were there based on the topic I spoke on and I would have spoken on. So we were able to offset that. And so, any other time, panic, just totally get in my head and all of that. There really wasn't a lot of time for that because in that moment, me getting well was more important than the disruption that it caused because the disruption wasn't a disaster because it worked itself out. When I am working with organizations and disruptions happen or crises happen, whether it's staff change, tech glitches, leadership gaps, that's the moment to regroup. That is the moment to reground, redefine what is it going to take to move forward, not panic. So, as a global mental health speaker, a crisis incident responder, I face these situations often. And I imagine, are you facing them as well in your life? When something disruptive happens, do you immediately go to panic and forget how equipped you are to regroup, redefine, and reground so that you can approach it with a strategy? Because in that moment, I said it would be unfair for me to show up sick. That's not kind. That's not operating with integrity or caring about other people's wellness. So I accepted it. In terms of the summit that I'm hosting, registration was supposed to open. I sought counsel with my trusted circle. And in that moment, leaning into integrity took intentionality. And so, therefore, the launch of the summit has changed. It's virtual, so there was some flexibility. And, there was a lot of things going wrong, not just me being sick. Two of my team members went on medical leave. There was a huge glitch in our automations. And so it's happening over here as well, not just in corporations. So if your instinct is to plow through whatever you're going through, just keep going, keep going, keep going, despite your body saying you need to stop. Okay. I could have completed both talks, but what good would I have been to other people on the second one? So when we are able to slow down, I don't know about you, but for me, it challenges my perfectionism. It challenges what I consider as impact. It challenges what we're used to when things go wrong. But when you got flexibility and you got other resources, use them. You see, people still found what they needed from me, and I found clarity in terms of the message I wanted to give was the message I needed for myself. Evolve your mental capacity, and that requires you to challenge your perfectionism, challenge what you deem as worth your worth. Okay, so you don't need to clock new things. You don't need to overstretch yourself because you're slowing down. That's not an indication of who you are. It's a moment in time because you begin to realize that disruption can actually strengthen the trust people have in you. Sure, they want a seamless experience. Sure, many people actually said, "Hey, we came here for fellowship to build community, but we came to hear you speak." That carried a lot of weight. So, what I did in that disruption actually strengthened the trust that people had in me. And I wonder if that can happen for you. But you got to let go of the panic and the perfectionism when things don't go well. If you're working with teams and organizations, many teams and leaders want to push forward at all costs, even when your people are stretched thin. But what does that lead to? Burnout. What does that lead to? Reduced impact, poor morale, lack of care. Is it worth it? And so when I started looking at what was happening in real time, I talk a lot about evolving mental capacity, elevating emotional intelligence, and embracing change. But when we look at emotional intelligence, a lot of people look outward. Is my emotional intelligence high? Can I understand, use, adapt, and navigate people based on what they give me? But that intelligence, it starts inward, because when we are aware of what's happening with our mind, our body, our emotions, we're able to manage the reactions. We're actually having a conversation with ourselves and understanding this is how much I have, and nothing else can fit in. When we're practicing high emotional intelligence or elevated emotional intelligence, we can do it for other people. But are we able to turn inward and do it for ourselves? Use, understand, and maneuver based on what we're experiencing ourselves. Okay. For me, this meant saying my health and my integrity matters more than how productive I am sick. It mattered more because my integrity and my health was directly going to impact people. So when you're working within companies, whether you're a decision maker, a leader, or a mental health professional that's going in to work with companies, remember companies with that prioritize elevating their people's emotional intelligence, or an emotionally intelligent culture, recognizes collective stress. You can regulate how you respond in crises. And you can create space or an environment for your team members to acknowledge when they're struggling without shame. That is a part of that notion of psychological safety. Can I get it wrong? Can I show up imperfect? Can I have off days, bad days without it being squashed on me? That's the organizational parallel to checking your own emotional intelligence as you are demonstrating it outwardly. So the second thing that came up for me, as I talked about, was evolving my capacity. My capacity for what I had to offer shifted. My capacity was recognizing I don't have to be stuck with doing or showing up one way. Capacity is flexible, it's fluid, it's resourceful, but it requires you to take a step back and listen, allow other people to support you, and reframe your pauses as fuel, not you effed up. You can reframe your pauses as fuel. And so that's what came up for me. But what I noticed with organizations, and if you are going into them as well, is that when we have organizational capacity, it has to fluctuate, because you have to understand, what is your staff's bandwidth? What is your budget for, things? We see many people are losing their jobs. We see budgets getting cut, but we also see their budgets growing. So what is your organizational capacity when things happen unexpectedly? What are the systems that are in place to alleviate the pain people experience, but also to get you to move now to bring the right people in to support your team? Whether it is a mental health speaker, consultant, or trainer, to give your people, help them identify or evolve the tools that they need to go forward. Businesses that evolve their capacity strategically by delegating, adjusting timelines, and supporting their employees through change, those are the ones that remain sustainable. Obviously, this goes without saying, is you only can evolve or open it up so much in terms of that fluidity versus being fixed, because you still got a business to run. But when you can honor where people are, the majority of people, and recognize, hey, this really is something, those are the organizations that sustain. So for me, I knew I had a few more days left on the retreat. So it was worth me staying in bed 2 days, missing a speaking engagement, because I had support behind me that stepped in. because I needed to sustain. I needed to still come back home and do the things I needed to do. And a third area that showed up for me, I guess we're on a triple E. We got emotional intelligence with self, we got evolving mental capacity, but it's embracing that change. At the retreat, I really needed to embrace that things were changing by the hour. I was getting sicker by the hour, and my a friend of mine, and who is also the host of the event, she said, "You looked ghostly." That's how sick I was. Because I did come up for dinner one night to the main venue, and I went right back. And so when we can embrace change, I had to lean into it and say, okay, I'm off the schedule for the second speaking engagement. But even when I think about what was happening in the background of things just continuing to fall apart, with my team members going on medical leave, two of them, and then something major with the tech regarding the registration opening for my online summit. Um, I sought counsel and I just said, what changes do I need to make so that I can still show up and facilitate this summit and host it with 25 plus powerhouse speakers? And so that the reschedule, I was, I hold on to things, and I kind of obsessed over, like, it got to happen. And I just said, nah, because the reschedule, it wasn't a failure. It was just a kind of a redirection. That's how I had to look at it. And so one of the things I know is that change is sharpened how clear I was about why I was hosting this summit, and also how resilient we can be when things change. And many of my speakers said, "Hey, thank you for putting that out there." Many of my friends who are hosting big events and doing amazing things in the speaking industry, and they responded, "I'm proud of you," because they knew how hard of a decision that likely was, but for the betterment of everyone, it made sense. And as you are within your organization, your teams, your companies, encourage you to demonstrate the power of embracing change and how you view disruptions, like restructuring, market shifts, technology breakdowns, funding cuts, all of that. That is an opportunity to be innovative instead of feeling threatened by the change, because the innovation is what keeps you stable and keeps you going. So those were my takeaways. And so if you're out there listening, you got to ask yourself, where do you need to apply emotional intelligence within yourself instead of pushing past your feelings? How can you honor your evolving capacity instead of overperforming default? And what changes within your teams, your organizations, can be a direction versus a derailment from what you initially decided to do, your mission and your message? Those are three questions I invite you to think about. So after being in bed sick for 2 days, I felt good enough on that third day, or the third day of me not feeling great, but I felt good enough to be at sea with friends and the retreat guests. So, in keeping with that analogy of a sea, there is a sea of possibility behind you, but only if you turn around to enjoy the view. If no one else has told you this recently or at all, I will. You are doing better than you think, and it does not have to be perfect. Keep showing up, because every adjustment, every pause, and every pivot adds up. And guess what? When you are doing it with good sense and mindfulness, other people will respect it. So here's to moving forward with resilience and integrity and all the things you need, because the struggles that we're facing, they're just setbacks, they're real. But when you can accept and transform those barriers into teachable moments for yourself and other people, you start building trust. It's part of your healing journey because you did it. So, the big announcement on top of all of this, the Sessions to Stages Summit will be streaming online October 20th through the 22nd of this year. And the new registration period will start on October 1st. So, yes, you still have time to get on the wait list to make sure that you be the first to know. And there might be a little surprise in there for those that have been on the waiting list. So you can head to speaktothesoul.com/summit wait. And I look forward to seeing you at the summit. And be reassured, any delay that we have had is not a disaster and it's not denied. It only is a delay. So I invite you to get on the waiting list and I look forward to serving you all. Have a great day.